to... Dangerously than most other folks, he was my companion, skiing down the Grand Canyon. Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of Live from Muppet Land. That was from the classic 1987 Emmy Hall of Fame Jim Henson tribute, and I had to play a song that has to do with Jim, because we have back on our show the biggest Jim Henson stan I know, Amy from Princess Muppet. Welcome.
Hello! What an honor to be the biggest Jim Henson stan you know.
I mean, listen, we all love Jim, but some people love him a little more than others, and nothing wrong with that.
I wear that badge proudly.
Very proudly. Muppet Twits, resident Jim Henson stan.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Welcome back to the show. How you been?
Thank you for having me back.
How you been?
I'm good. It's been like crazy time on Muppets Twitter lately, but it's been fun.
I think that's a good segue as ever to get into the news, shall we?
Yeah.
Three items I'd like to talk about today. First off, we've done it again. You believe it? The Muppets have once again done something that has made the right people mad.
Uh-oh.
About maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, in real world news, the CDC allowed vaccines for kids under 5. Mm-hmm. This was relatively recently, but we're not here to talk about that, obviously. That's a different podcast. That's that's Live from Medicine Land. I think that
if that's what you're looking for, you're in the wrong place.
No. If to get to Live from Medicine Land, you just keep walking. You take Live from Medical Land. 2 different. Okay, this bit's getting weird. Anyway, and that's what it is. But of course, Sesame Street posted a video. I think on Twitter, but probably on other places as well.
Yeah. I saw it a couple places.
Of Elmo saying he got his COVID vaccine and kind of like saying that, it was a little pinch, but he probably said like, Elmo is helping Elmo's friends, like something.
Yeah.
Like that. And then Elmo's dad, Louie, kind of says little things, I'm a pediatrician, and make sure I made the right choice to keep Elmo and our friends safe. And, I thought it was a very basic video. I mean, they did some vaccination PSAs back last year when the vaccines were first available to kids under 12, and Big Bird got the vaccine.
Yes, and that was a big deal.
Yes, that so much so, Big Bird getting vaccinated won a Muppet.
Oh, I know.
And so, there wasn't that, Elmo getting vaccinated wasn't that big of a thing within the Muppet community as its own. Like, people, but like, okay, it is what it is.
We were just like, okay, moving
on.
Well,
a certain Texas senator, who, to quote Muppet history, we don't like, decided to attack a Muppet.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, don't you have anything better to do?
If I had a nickel for every time Ted Cruz attacked a Muppet, I had 2 nickels, but that's not. It's weird that it's happened twice.
Yep.
And so the whole right wing was against this. Something that ultimately does not matter. Like, a puppet getting a vaccine is that's the stupidest thing to have a culture war about.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, come on, really? Like, ugh.
Yeah, it's weird. And then the next day, Ted Cruz got in a fight with Muppet history. Well, not a fight, but yeah. So Elmo got vaccinated. Any thoughts? Any other thoughts on that?
That honestly, I think is so great. Like, I think it's so great that they, Sesame Street always handles things like that so well. And I just love that they just don't care about what any of the, like, right says. They're like, anyways.
Well, yeah, I think what people forget is, like, people like Ted Cruz always say that, oh, Sesame Street's going woke. Like, that's what they like to say.
They've been woke since the day they were born.
Sesame Street was banned in Tennessee. I think it was Tennessee because there were black and white people on the screen at the same time. Like, Sesame Street isn't just becoming woke. It's always been very progressive in all sorts of.
Exactly.
And
it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's it's a kids show, and so it's like it's you're yelling at a Muppet. You're literally like, what are you?
Like, you're grown adults yelling at Muppets.
You are the senator of one of the largest states in the country. And
I live in that state. Don't remind me.
Yeah, like you are a senator. You have other things to worry about. Inflation's up the roof. We still live in a pandemic. There's all these other important issues you could be worrying about, and yet you're worrying about a Muppet.
You decided to attack a Muppet out of all the things to be mad about.
Yeah, so anyway, we don't like you, Ted Cruz. Our next item on the news is a very small one, but an interesting one. The Muppets announced they have a new logo.
Yes, I saw that.
It is, in my opinion, 10 times better than the logo they've had for the last decade.
I agree. I think it's a very nice new logo.
Because that old logo is just so, like, I'm glad I can say this now that it's gone. It's so boring, and then
it really is
so boring because, like, every letter except for the M is this really, like, Times New Roman, like, boring font. There's just that eyesore of an ugly M. That eyesore.
Yes.
Like, yeah, we get it. Kermit is part of the Muppets, and Kermit is the most popular Muppet. But, like, if you're gonna do a ugly green looking M, go all out. Make the U look like Gonzo's nose. Let the look like a beaker or something. Like, go full out with it. Make it.
I have a Disney cruise shirt that's kind of like that, but it's like Mickey and Minnie and all them, but it's every letter.
Right. Like,
that's what they should have gone for.
No, what they should have done, they should have copied Mike Boone's homework. That is. For those of you who don't know, Mike Boone is a Muppet fan artist whose most famous contribution is the Muppet alphabet, which you've definitely seen on Instagram and stuff like that. Like, they should have just hired him, and they would have been fine.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, I like the new logo. It reminds me a lot of the original Muppet Show logo.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very classic, like throwback.
Yeah.
With, like, a little bit of a modern twist. I think it's a good balance.
Yeah, I think it's not like the monstrous nightmare of modern logos that it like, it's not devoid of all personality.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
It's full of personality, but not too much personality. I think that's the perfect balance for a logo like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, our third item, it's a little upsetting, kind of, just a little bit. About last week, there was an accident on the set of Muppets Mayhem.
Yeah, I heard about that.
For the record, nobody got hurt. Nobody injured or worse, thank God.
Thank goodness, yeah.
But there was still an accident. I believe it had something to do with somebody, either it was some sort of golf cart or some sort of other wheeled vehicle that crashed into some building or set or something. I believe that was what happened.
Yeah.
And nobody was hurt. So the fact that nobody was hurt gave us a bunch of really good jokes.
I was going to say, yeah, like the most fitting show to have that happen with the Electric Mayhem. Like, Mayhem is in the title.
It's called Mayhem for a reason. I think it was Tough Pigs that said, "Who let Zoot drive?"
Aw, my boy Zoot.
Well, honestly, side tangent. Who do you think, out of the Electric Mayhem, who do you think is the worst driver?
Well, Animal, obviously, but Animal's chaotic.
Yeah, I feel like even Dr. Keith was a very good driver. Like, I don't think I'd get in a car with any of them at the wheel.
I was going to say, I feel like they'd all be a little bit chaotic driving.
All right. What do you think? All right, just let's open this conversation a little bit up. Of all the Muppets, who's the worst driver?
Oh, man. That's a hard one.
It's Pepe, because he can't reach the pedals. No, all I can think of is Pepe using the steering wheel and Rizzo down at the pedals. Like
That's perfect.
when they hijack the Pizza Planet truck.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh man, yeah. Oh gosh. I feel like they'd all be chaotic drivers, to be honest,
Well,
except for like Kermit.
yeah, Kermit and Scooter. Sam the Eagle would be like the slowest driver imaginable.
Yes, very true.
And Piggy. Oh, the road rage. The road rage.
Oh, I know.
But that's pretty much all the news. I mean, those were all interesting stories, but there's not really been too much going on. I mean, last time I had a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. We spent 10 minutes talking about Dark Crystal NFTs.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I don't want to repeat that, but I
Nope.
also not a fan.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Well, this is the part of the show where I normally would ask my guest, like Jim in the biopic, but you've already answered that question.
I have already answered that question, yeah.
So I'm going to ask you two different questions now. One,
I'm scared. Oh no.
who plays Frank Oz in the biopic?
That's a hard one. I have not thought about that one, actually.
Do you have, well, just in general, do you have any other, like, did you think of anybody else besides Jim yet?
Oh, to like play Jim?
No, besides, like, anybody else? Like,
oh, besides Jim. Oh, the other day I was thinking of one and now I'm having like a brain fart and I can't remember. I've let you down.
No, yeah, it's fine. The easy answer, if you're just going to go with look of likes, the easy answer is, what's that guy from Arrested Development?
Yeah, I've seen people tweet him. I don't know his name, but I've seen people tweet his picture and say that he should play him.
Yeah, like the guy, like, but like that's kind of just like an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my other casting has always been Ben Schwartz as Richard Hunt. That's always been something I've thought of.
That's a really good choice.
I feel like somebody else also thought of that, so I don't want to take.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good one. Wow. Now I'm like gonna like fight for that to happen.
But you know, it'd be funny if like I kind of want to think like the worst casting possible. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would be hilarious.
And I want to be like, all right, Dave Goelz, Danny Trejo, like something totally.
The most chaotic biopic ever made.
Jim Henson is played by Colonel Sanders.
Oh no.
No. Okay, I'm just looking at my poster on my wall. You know what? You know what's the most chaotic biopic I can think of?
Oh gosh, what?
Jim, played by Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh man. That would be so entertaining. I'll give it that.
My other question for you.
Yes.
Is what is it like being a famous internet viral sensation?
Oh my gosh. My adoring fans are dying to know the answer to this question, huh?
Yeah, so you went viral. Like
I did go viral. That was wild. Last time we talked, I had like a little over 400 followers, and now I have like over 700. I'm close to 800.
You might not qualify for best Muppet fan account under 1,000 followers.
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to have over 1,000 followers, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll make it by then, but we'll see.
But the tweet that went viral was about throwing Muppet yeeting, as I like to talk about it, right?
Yeah. Throwing Muppets across the room and just flinging them.
Muppet yeeting. Somebody
Muppet yeet.
But yeeting, you yeet the Muppet.
Yep. I think that's the peak of comedy, truly.
It is. There's no Muppet yeeting in what we watch today, I don't think, right?
They don't really do it much anymore, and I'm like, what a wasted opportunity. Come on.
Well, they did it more in the 80s, I think, is what they did a lot of. They need to,
yeah.
That's our petition. That's our petition. All right, so time to talk about what we're actually here to talk about.
Yes.
Would you want to start with the album or the special?
Probably the special, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that'll segue into the album.
Yeah, I feel like we can kind of talk about them as both. So first off, before we even do that, what is your relation to John Denver?
You know, it's so interesting because I wasn't like super familiar with him until I was watching The Muppet Show. And when I was watching it, my mom was like, oh yeah, John Denver, he was great. And my uncles really liked him. And it's so funny because I was going through my mom's old vinyls the other day and she has a John Denver one. And I was like, oh, what a coinky dink. I'm about to talk about his Christmas special with the Muppets.
Yeah, so for me, I have a bit of a weird connection to John Denver. In my generation, he is best known for "Take Me Home, Country Roads," which is kind of the
Yes.
theme song. Which, fun fact, isn't about the state of West Virginia. It's about the western part of Virginia.
Oh.
So West Virginia meaning like Western Virginia. Yeah. And so yeah, I've always loved John Denver's music. Take Rose, Thank God I'm a Country Boy, uh,
Yeah.
any song, like just some off-time classics. And then get a little personal if you don't mind me.
No, of course.
When I was a freshman in high school, right at like the last week of my freshman year of high school, my grandmother died.
Hmm.
And I lived with her for years and we lived in the same house. And during the summer when I was cleaning out her house, I had my Amazon, I would say the actual thing, but there's one right in front of me. Go off. Um, Play some music, right? And Sunshine on My Shoulders came on. And it was the first time I was really let myself cry.
Aww.
And that song was on. So I've always kind of held John Denver in a special place in my heart.
That's really sweet. Aww.
Uh, yeah, so I like John Denver a lot. And obviously, so have you seen his Muppet Show episode, I assume?
I have seen the episode. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched
Oh, yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
me too. I have
yes.
not watched it for this podcast or anything, but I've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And have you seen the other special they did?
Actually, no, because I honestly kept forgetting that his specials with the Muppets existed. So I kept forgetting to
Yeah.
watch them. So when this won the poll, I got very excited because I was like, finally, I won't forget.
Yeah, so
They're like the only two I haven't watched yet because I
that
kept forgetting they were there.
to bring up the poll. What an interesting batch we had options for.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So we're watching John Denver and the Muppets of Christmas together. Also, you're good for about an hour, right?
Yes.
All right, just make sure. So our other options that we're not watching, I'll go through them very quickly.
Mhm.
We're not watching Sesame Street season 8, which is a bit of a bummer because I looked on what episodes HBO Max had for that season, and there's some pretty good ones in there.
Aw.
Like the 25th anniversary of Hooper's Store, that could have been fun.
Aw, yeah.
We are not watching the worst episode of The Muppet Show. I don't know if that's a controversial statement. I think some tough pigs agree with me on that, but the Rich Little episode is my personal least favorite episode. I take that back. The Teresa Brewer episode is the worst, but that's just because it's like some of the worst fat jokes I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
But the Rich Little one is also not good if you've ever seen it.
Mhm.
And I'm so bummed, but we are not watching Julie Andrews 1-to-1.
I know you wanted that one so bad.
Because, okay, so Julie Andrews worked with the Muppets 6 times in the 70s,
Mhm.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
They were on her show, she was on their show, and she hosted 4 variety specials the Muppets guest on.
Mhm.
Julie on Sesame Street was just Julie on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Julie Things was just like a basic variety special. Julie One Step in the Spring was a basic variety special. 1-to-1. Have you ever seen 1-to-1?
Actually, I don't think I have.
It is. Do you know anything about it?
It sounds like I feel like I'm having a brain fart again.
Okay, so
Like I feel like you're gonna describe it to me and I'm gonna go, oh, that.
yeah, Andrews 1-to-1 is the evangelical adoption special.
Oh yeah. See, I knew that was gonna happen.
And so basically, it's Julie Andrews and the Muppets telling you to adopt kids from foreign nations to be a good citizen.
Okay, yeah, I remember hearing about that one, yeah.
It is wild and delightful.
Aw.
It is one of the weirdest things I think they ever would have done and will do. But we're not here to talk about that.
You'll talk about it in a future one, I have no doubt.
Oh, I hope so. I actually am planning on doing an episode where we just pick from 4 of the Julie Andrews specials.
Oh, fun.
Because there's just so many of them.
Yeah.
Because John Denver is also somebody the Muppets worked with a lot.
Yes, I was talking to my mom about that last night while we watched the special. Because she watched with me.
Aw. My mother was asleep. So anyway. No, because there was this one. Obviously, he was on the Muppet Show. Obviously, there was Rocky Mountain Holiday, which, here's the thing. We'll talk about this a little bit. The quality not the like of the special, of the video we watched was crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Rocky Mountain Holiday you can find in 4K.
Which is so funny.
I think that's because Rocky Mountain Holiday was released on DVD at some point.
That explains that.
And because it was released on DVD, that's DVD quality for this is like a VHS rip or whatever it is.
Yeah. I noticed that, yeah.
And then John Denver was at the Grammys with Floyd. Wild. John Denver did a series of environmental PSAs with the Muppets in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the people to appear on the Muppets Celebrate Jim Henson.
Yes.
So it seemed like he and Jim were quite close collaborators throughout the years.
Yeah, from what I heard, they were like really good friends, like lifelong friends, pretty much.
Yeah, and I mean, you can tell that in the special a little bit.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And just for those who know, John Denver passed away in, I want to say, 1998.
I think it was 97. I was kind of I was creeping on his Wikipedia page last night.
It might have been 97 of a plane accident, which is just such a
I know
terrible way. So much so that I believe they had to edit a plane scene out of Rocky Mountain Holiday when they put it because there was a scene of him and Robin flying in a plane, and they didn't think it was.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but again, we're not here to talk about the other John Denver special. We're here to talk about Christmas specials in July.
Christmas in July.
Woo! Christmas in July. Everybody now. Yeah, I know. I felt a little bit weird putting Christmas specials on my list, but they're Muppet stuff too, so.
I'm obsessed with Christmas. It's my favorite time of year, and so I'll watch Christmas stuff all year. It does not faze me at all.
Yeah. So let's start with, this special starts at the very beginning, which I think is a very good place to start.
Yes.
With the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yes, I thought that was so adorable.
Oh, it's adorable. It's so just so cute with I think one of my favorite parts of that song in particular are, Fozzie keeps missing his cue.
Yes, that was cracking me up.
And it's so funny because he gets it on the first shot, but every time, like between the first one and the last one, he just messes up every time, and it's just.
It's so funny because it's like you have one line and it's all in number order.
And
come on, Fozzie.
maybe he's not good at alliteration because it is 7 swans a swimming.
True.
And then of course the ba-dum bum bum. Piggy just trying to steal the show over and over again.
Yes, I love that they gave her 5 golden rings.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, it would be a crime to not give her that line.
Would not. So I know, skipping ahead a bit to the album, because I know we're going to talk about that briefly later.
Yeah.
Did you notice that there's a different order between the album and the special?
Yes.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
So in the album, which was released first, and I think created first, if I'm not mistaken, the album version goes, and I'm just going to say 1 through 12 here: John, Fozzie, Gonzo, Robin, Piggy, Scooter, New Zealand, Rolf, Bunsen and Beaker, Statler and Waldorf, Beauregard, Kermit.
Yeah.
The special version goes John, Kermit, Gonzo, Robin, Piggy, Scooter, Fozzie, Rolf, Janice, Statler and Waldorf, Floyd, and Animal.
Yeah, it's so odd how it's different.
And
but I get that sometimes things change for when you're filming something because.
Well, I think the one change that makes the most sense is putting Kermit towards the beginning.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You want Kermit on, because Kermit's the most iconic Muppet. You want him on. And the fact that they didn't always do Animal doing 12 drummers drumming from the start is just that is such.
Yeah. That's a missed opportunity.
And it's so the 3 people who are in the album but not the special, I mean this version of the song, I should say. In this album, they have Bunsen and Beaker, which are pretty iconic characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then New Zealand and Beauregard. Which, I don't dislike either of them, for the record. But it's weird they were included.
I get that, yeah. I'm biased because I actually really do like both of those Muppets very much. But I get that is odd because they really weren't the mainstream Muppets technically.
Right,
like you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, because like the replacements are, Janice and Floyd, which are like Electric Mayhem,
yeah,
kind of stuff. But you know what? That's just a weird. It's just weird. That's just like a weird. It's weird. I don't know how to even describe it.
It's like they listened back and were like, you know what? No, let's bring in the Electric Mayhem.
Right.
And so they kind of scrapped it. But I'm like, oh, okay. Why didn't you just do that in the beginning?
One more thing about this song before we move on. I do
Mhm.
quite like Rolf playing on the piano.
That part, I got so excited. His little top hat.
His little top hat. John did. The other thing is that so all the Muppets are very like motion in this song. Like they do like swaying and move up and down and kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just have John Denver stiff as a board. I know the man can move. We know that from later in this special, but like I assume because there's all these puppeteers.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah,
Like it's kind of funny to watch, honestly.
it is funny when you think about it. You're like, oh, don't you want to move with him?
So then we cut to John Denver and the Muppets: A Christmas Together, starring John Denver and John's special guest. Instead of saying the Muppets, they list out a certain batch of Muppets.
Yeah.
And it's weird which ones they listed.
I thought it was just so odd. I was like, why didn't you just say the Muppets?
Starring Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Gonzo, Floyd, Scooter, and Rolf.
Like, okay.
Like, well, I know there's other Muppets in this special. You literally just showed me like 10 other ones in the opening number.
Right?
Why couldn't you just say John Denver? Like, it doesn't even make sense to say starring, because like we know John Denver and the Muppets are in it, because that's literally the title.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like, it's weird to say John Denver and the Muppets: A Christmas Together, starring John Denver and the Muppets.
Like, what? Are you for real? I had no idea.
Like, if there were other people in this special, it would make sense to list them there.
Yeah.
But there's not. There's like, that's the other thing. I'm so used to like the Julie Andrews specials, where like, for example, Julie Andrews' One Step into Spring. It's the Muppets, Julie Andrews, and Leo Sayer and Leslie Uggams. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just those two. But for this, it really is just the Muppets and John Denver. So
that was an interesting choice that they did it like that.
yeah. And so then we get to go to the writing room.
Yes, the table read.
This is the best part of the special. I can't even hide my thoughts that this is the best part of the special.
It's so adorable. It's so funny.
And you've got Piggy coming in, and you've got John, and you've got everybody saying they love the script and then immediately saying they hate the script.
Oh, yeah. It's so Muppets.
My favorite line is Floyd goes, "But what about the band's number, man?" And I'm like, I didn't think about that until I listened to the album, and the band actually has a song on the album, but they don't have it in the movie.
Yeah.
I would have killed to see that live. It kind of could be like the like that scene in A Muppet Family Christmas.
Yes, exactly.
And then they start reading the script, and John says that old line, "Goodwill and peace on earth to men." And
yes. That part was like the most hilarious to me because Piggy was like, women
and chickens
and chickens
and Dizzy Gillespie.
I was just like, oh my gosh.
And then they the door flies open with some snow and stuff. It's funny because usually I have like a script or something or a plot summary on me.
Yeah.
Literally, I just have the special open on YouTube, and I'm like,
smart. I took notes last night, actually.
I did too, but I don't want to open my notes app and crash this.
Oh, you went technology-wise. I have a notebook.
My handwriting's garbage. The only I have one page of notes, and it's literally just who sings what in the special and album for the 12 Days of Christmas.
Aw.
That was my page of notes. But anyway, the door flies open, and John goes into purgatory.
That's the perfect way to put it.
And then like a model train town basically pops up.
I know. I told my mom, I was like, if I could just have a random Christmas town pop up whenever I wanted, I'd be content.
Yeah, that's like, all right, I'm a genie, first wish, random Christmas town. I feel like that's pretty.
Boom.
So then they start singing a song, and I forget which song they start singing.
The one about like company, right?
Yes, can I have the pleasure of
Yes.
company? My favorite one here is he puts like a thing in the whatchamacallit, like the Salvation Army bucket, and then Fozzie like points to it and is like, more.
That's true, yeah.
And all the Muppets and all these random background people are singing along. At one point, John takes a tumble.
Oh yeah.
And the one note, I don't have my notes up with me, but I know I wrote it down, was, does John Denver do his own stunts?
We need answers.
Is he like Nick Cage? Does he not Nick Cage, Tom Cruise? Is he like,
yes, I was just about to say.
Does he do his own stunts? I mean, that was quite a tumble.
It was. And I remember being like, dear God, don't break an ankle. Like, we need you. The rest of the special, we have like a long time to go.
He also got a hot peanut put right on his hand thanks to the chef.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, the chef.
Yeah, so they're just torturing John Denver, and I'm sure he doesn't like the rock music the Mayhem's playing.
They look so cute in their little marching band outfits, though.
Yeah, I mean, everybody looks so very cute in this special with all their
there were so many like adorable outfits.
Nice little. I mean, popping ahead a bit. I think, does Kermit wear a sweater? Yes, Kermit has his little scarf. I love.
Yeah, he has a scarf. Scooter has a sweater toward the end.
But they sing "Pleasure of a Company." John Denver does some weird dancing with a bunch of policemen.
Oh yeah, I was like, okay.
This is how bad the video quality is. They're wearing red earmuffs, but it was so blurry. I thought they all had bright red dyed hair. I'm like, why do all of these like turn of the century policemen have bright red hair dye in their hair? Like
all this Muppet content we could have in like high quality, and we just don't.
Yeah. Before we continue talking about the actual special, I just gotta say the quality of this rip that's on YouTube is god awful.
Yeah. Like at first it like was unsettling, but I settled more into it as it kept going on. But at the same time I was like, this is such a shame that this is not available anywhere in a higher quality.
It's so blurry that if you like if you look at a shot, it looks like John Denver's Florence Henderson at points. Like that's how blurry it is. Like and like what's worse is the audio quality.
Yeah, that took me a minute to like settle into it.
They were like 30 minutes into the special, there were still some scenes where I could not understand what they were saying.
True, I agree with that. Yeah, there were some parts where I was like, what?
Well, I almost turned it off on my TV and put it on a computer and put it on with headphones.
Yeah, that might have been better.
Turn on subtitles, but then it was like, wait, they're auto-generated? They are not going to know it. If I can't, then the YouTube algorithm sure is not going to understand it.
Yeah, that's true. I will say though, the like bad audio at the same time kind of, I don't know why, I found it kind of like charming in a way, because I was like, I'm watching something really old.
Yeah, I get it. I mean,
if that makes any sense.
It does make any sense. This is like a 43-year-old Christmas special.
Yeah.
Like,
it was like charming, but at the same time I was like, yeah, I'd still rather have this in better quality.
I don't, here's the other thing. I don't know who owns this. That's the other, like, was this included in the Disney buyout? Do the Hensons still have it for some reason? Does John Denver's estate still have it? Like, who owns the copyright to the special would be interesting.
I'm going to try and figure that out now after this, because that's a good question.
It would be the Hensons. I'd assume it'd be Disney or the Denver estate. But
yeah. I feel like you could put it somewhere, though, whether it's Disney Plus or Apple TV or like HBO Max.
Or, you know, somebody could just find a higher quality version and put it on.
Somebody out there must have one.
Because, like,
if you're listening.
Yeah, if you're listening, piraters.
Be the real MVP and do this for us.
Then, after that, we get Piggy in a giant sleigh and a beautiful winter costume.
I, like, screamed about her outfit. What an absolute fabulous queen.
She's
my icon.
Yeah. Then, speaking of the icon, we get a scene that, I'll be blunt, I could not understand a single word of those two talking.
Oh, in her dressing room, right?
Yeah.
I, I, I think that whole like bit of her like just being like, "Oh, I adore you," was so funny.
It is funny.
I love when she does that.
There is, what I could understand was funny. I love when she's like, "Take your glasses off, Jonathan,"
I
and
had to pause the TV. I was laughing so hard.
then he does, and she's like, "Put them back on, Jonathan."
The way she like deadpan looks at the camera, like, never mind.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's just
And you can tell that that's like genuine laughter from John Denver too.
John Denver seems to be having the time of his life.
Yes, and it's always so fun to watch specials with the Muppets when you can tell the hosts are like just having a ball.
Or even just episodes of the Muppet Show, because you can tell, like, when a guest is just like, "Oh, I gotta be here with these stupid puppets," opposed to a guest that's like, "Oh, I gotta be here with these stupid puppets." Like
this is the funnest job I've ever had.
play with puppets all day. This is great.
Yep.
So yeah, you can tell John Denver. I mean, you can tell he's having fun because he would go on to do like 4 other things with the Muppets. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah. So but I don't know. It was hard to kind of understand what they were saying in that scene, but it was so
Yeah. But we got the gist, you know. Piggy's trying to get his affection. That's pretty much the gist of the scene.
yeah. Then we've got first off, before we get into the actual contact in this scene, that nature's amazing.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part. What?
Before we get into the context of like what actually happens in this scene,
Yeah.
that nature set is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like, I know it's a set because I can tell with the snow, but like it's just so beautiful.
Yes, I was thinking that too. I remember saying that out loud, like, wow, that's set.
Like that costs some serious money.
Mm-hmm. They went all out with that one.
Yeah. And then he did this. I'll be honest. I once again could not understand and kind of chose not to listen to the poem about the Christmas tree.
Oh yeah. The tree poem, yeah.
Any thoughts on that tree poem?
You know, actually, I that was a part that I actually genuinely liked. At first, I was like, "Oh, he's going to tell this story," but then I was sitting there and I was like, "That's beautiful, man."
See, again, I just like. I'm sorry, but it was very hard for me to pay attention because of how bad the audio was.
Valid.
It played better on the album.
Yes.
Album, which I know, I think we'll go over the track list for the album towards the end of this, but it plays better on the album.
Yeah.
And
for
I
sure.
Say, I don't even know what the song's called, but that it's in every one of us to be what he sings that now, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
That song is so beautiful, and so
the songs in this special are so pretty. And I was telling my mom, I was like, I've never felt more soothed in my life than I do at this very moment.
So it's like, well, my thing is the "It's in Every One of Us" song. I don't know that song from this special. I know it because it's a song they sing at the end of The Christmas Toy.
Oh.
Have you ever seen The Christmas Toy?
I don't think I have.
The Christmas Toy is...
I gotta catch up on stuff.
Yeah, watch it this Christmas.
I'm slacking.
I think it's included with Amazon Prime. I think that's how I watched it last year.
I might have to borrow someone's, but I'll find a way.
Well, I think you can also rent it for like $2 on YouTube.
Oh, that's true.
Anyway, it's basically kind of the plot of Toy Story a little bit.
Oh yeah, I read that somewhere.
Made years before Toy Story, but it's a cute little special. Dave Goelz is like the main character. It's another one of those specials where like Kermit like does the prologue and epilogue.
Yeah.
And Kermit's wearing a Santa suit. It's great. But yeah, that song ends A Christmas Toy, and it's really, I love that song. Oh,
it's
and
it's very beautiful.
I think it's also in Muppet Family Christmas, now that I'm thinking of it.
Oh. I watched that last Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's in a Muppet Family Christmas.
Which is a masterpiece.
And so, also, is this where the real deer show up?
Yes. I remember the deer, because I remember going, deer!
Real deer, not Muppet, because there's some Muppet critters in the back too, I think.
Yes.
But there's
And there have been Muppet deer before.
we've gotten Muppet. I'm sure we have. Sure we have.
Like I know that I swear there were some on the Muppet Show.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But why did they have real deer?
Maybe John Denver wanted some because he was big on nature.
I mean, yeah, he was. But at that point, why not just film it in the woods?
That's a good point.
And so then we see little homesick Kermit in his little cute little scarf.
Oh, I know.
This is such a delight. This is so cute, and it's nice. It's real. That's this special. It's really nice.
It really is. It just makes you feel good inside.
Yeah. So Kermit's, that scarf.
They had like, oh no, keep going.
No, you go.
No, I was just gonna say like the joke they say, like even though it's like a really beautiful, like sweet little moment, there's still the moment where he's like telling the story and he's like, he croaked. He died?
No, I've posted that clip before.
Yeah.
Like it's a very
No, I was like, this is such a beautiful moment, and then that part comes on, and I'm like, oh jeez.
No, he croaked. Help, he croaked.
Oh man.
And then that's when they sing, I think, my other favorite song, The Christmas Wish.
Yeah.
Like, I was jamming to that before we were recording the album version of it. Just a sweet little Christmas song.
It really is.
There's not much to say about it, but it's a sweet little Christmas song.
Yeah.
And so I know we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but what is your opinion on John Denver as a singer? Do you think he's a good singer?
I think he's got like one of the most like, and I keep using this word, but he's got like one of the most like soothing voices I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I really like songs that soothe me. I have like a whole playlist on Spotify for songs that help calm me down when I have anxiety.
Sunshine on my shoulders, throw that on there. It's a very... very...
But yeah, like, and I don't know, it kind of gives me like a feel of like, I don't want to say like Southern, but like,
he is,
because I'm not like, woo, like hardcore Southerner, like that's not me. But at the same time, I am from Texas. So sometimes I'm like, it is kind of comforting to hear that kind of.
No, because like he does literally say, thank God I'm a country boy. So
yeah.
No, I get that. I think he's a very sweet singer. That perfect, like, good 70s schmaltz.
Yes, thank you. That's the perfect way to describe it.
Because 70s schmaltz. If you wanna talk about, I don't know, Starlight Vocal Band and Afternoon Delight or something, but I think I put him in the same category I would put like James Taylor, Carpenters, like just that.
Yes, I love the Carpenters.
Oh, I love the Carpenters. Side note, if you ever want your Carpenters cranked up to 11, in 1994 there was a compilation tribute album called If I Were a Carpenter, where a bunch of relatively unknown at the time alternative bands covered Carpenter songs.
Oh.
This includes the Cranberries and Sheryl Crow.
Oh.
And the Cranberries do Close to You.
I did not know that existed. I'm going to have to look that up.
There's also a Japanese punk version of Top of the World.
I love that. That's funny.
Great, but that's a completely different side tangent.
Yeah. I sang one of their Christmas songs at a vocal recital a couple years ago. Sorry, random tangent.
Carpenter's Christmas album. That's what we should have talked about. Then, so of all the Muppets, all right, if I were to tell you to pick two Muppets to trust in the hair and makeup department, what two Muppets would you trust?
To do my hair and makeup?
Yeah.
Oh. That is a very good question.
Because the answer is totally Beaker and New Zealand.
True. It is funny to see them and be like, what?
Like,
why are they doing that?
Who thought that was a good idea?
Like, where is my fashion king Uncle Deadly when you need him?
Where's Mildred? Where's Hilda?
I'm saying.
Piggy probably could do her own makeup, for Christ's sake.
I know, I was going to say Piggy when you asked. I was going to say Piggy's probably one. Yeah. Even though Piggy would probably start doing her own hair and makeup.
Yeah. Or no, you would just end up looking like Miss Piggy at the end of the day.
That would be an honor.
And so
This, by the way, is my favorite like era of Piggy look. I think she's so glamorous in this era.
what, you didn't like her when she had the Rachel?
I
What,
just miss this like eyeshadow look she used to have during this era, and her
remember?
like super bushy, big like blonde hair. I just love
Remember
it.
when they dyed her hair brown?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I do remember that. That was
Oh,
a choice.
well, 1979 is kind of the start of the Piggy decade.
Yes.
Like, eventually, Miss Piggy would go on to be the most famous Muppet of the 80s and would be able to carry talk show appearances on her own.
Yes, and she had all her like calendars.
I have her self help books somewhere.
Oh yeah. I really want that.
You can usually find it in like a bookstore for pretty cheap. It's not that expensive, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and then they like, eventually they give Piggy her own TV special.
Oh yeah.
I assume you've never seen the Fantastic Miss Piggy show either.
No, I haven't yet, but I like there's a bunch of these like more obscure Muppet specials that I have to still watch.
So just to shout out a few, you got to watch that. You got to watch The Muppets Go Hollywood. You got to watch The Muppets Go to the Movies.
Yes.
Muppets Go to Disney World,
That's one of my favorites.
of course. Anyway,
Obviously.
then John talks to Piggy a little bit to reassure her that she's getting that final number.
Hmm.
And then they sing an old Christmas round.
Yeah.
Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat. Da, 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 in the old man's hat. Da, 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 da,
That
da.
part was that was a bop.
It's a bop. It's a song sung in the round, which if you don't know, for those listening, it's when you like everybody starts a song slightly later, so it's like
Yeah. Throwback to my choir days. Woo!
woo.
We
I
did that
think
in choir a lot in high school.
I quit choir in middle school because the old teacher left and the new teacher I wasn't vibing with.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Hey, I wasn't complaining. I only did choir anyway because my parents wanted me to.
Ah,
No, I did other things, and I was more the theater kid. I didn't quite like.
I was both.
Yeah, I was more the theater stuff. But anyway, then they do the in the round, and it's a weird group of people. It's like New Zealand, Beaker, Fozzie, Gonzo.
Gonzo, yeah.
Is Animal on there? No, maybe. Who knows? Then we get a Muppetless scene back in the old Purgatory Christmas Town. A scene that I have accidentally I can't think of this song without thinking of a joke now.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so it's a sweet little Christmas song. I think it's just called like a Christmas. Crap. What, they don't say what it's called on Muppet Wiki. What do they call it? Hold on. The name of that song is just a bit just like you. I think is the name of it.
Yeah.
And
I didn't write the name of the song down in my notes. No.
it's this sweet little song, right?
Hmm.
And he at the end of it he's saying "Merry Christmas, little Zachary, and Christmas wish to you" or whatever, right?
Yes.
Wait, but thanks to Muppet fan Hall of Famer J.D. Hansel, I cannot think about this song anymore without thinking of a parody he made for the Bad Henson restaurant. In their cocktails, there's "Merry Christmas, Little Daiquiri." That's all I can think of when I hear this song now. So thank you, JD.
What an icon.
What an icon. So that's all I can think of with this song. So what can you think of for this song? Did you like it?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I do.
Good.
But now all I'm going to think about is that.
Uh, Getting a daiquiri.
Yep, exactly.
I don't even know what a daiquiri is, to be honest with you.
Okay, same though. I don't like drink, so I'm like, what?
Legal adult, but can't drink legally yet. So
Ah.
that weird in between years.
Ah.
I can vote, but I can't. Anyway. Then I keep saying like my favorite part of the special, but like this truly is my favorite part of the special.
Hmm.
John Denver and Rolf singing by the piano.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts too.
My heart. There's not much to say about it because they're just singing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas."
It's
But,
so wonderfully simple and sweet, and anything with Rolf is just A plus for me.
and it's so they sing it on the album too, and it's so good on the album, and it's so special. And they're just in this little dark room, and
I love moments when the guest or the host or whatever they're called at the moment. I love when they just sing with Rolf. It's just so nice.
well, I mean, whenever I see like a celebrity with Rolf just kind of singing a song or bantering, it always takes me back to the Jimmy Dean days.
Yep.
Which
Major throwback.
I love the Jimmy Deans. If you ever get a chance to watch some of that stuff, there's a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's really good. So then Piggy comes in all PO'd that some girl named Fifi is getting her slot, but I guess she didn't read that she was playing Fifi.
Yes, Fifi's the name of her character.
And then we get an ad for Bobopedic Furniture. I'm still looking on the YouTube, and I clicked ahead and it took me to an ad for Bobopedic.
I was like, let me guess, YouTube put up an ad.
Yep. It's funny because it's funny that stuff like this can get ads on it because who takes those ads?
I know, right?
You have any thoughts on this weird First off, I did not know that's how you spell camaraderie. There's not. It ends with an EI. Why?
Yeah, I have dyslexia, so I don't know.
Camaraderie. That sounds like it should end with a Y. I'm just saying.
Yep. My everyday life struggle. That sounds like this, but it doesn't spell like that.
Nope. John Denver is a bad dancer. Confirmed. He looks like he's having fun though.
Yeah, and you can tell that they made it to where his character's supposed to be bad. So I was like, that's how you take their strength and make it work.
So then I guess a toy war breaks out and he goes to war.
I honestly loved this part with all the toy soldiers. I thought it was so adorable. I was having a ball watching that part.
It's my least favorite part of the special.
Really? It was one of my favorites. I really liked it.
Well, honestly, the special, there's not a, it's, I'll spoiling my thoughts for the end. It's not the greatest thing the Muppets have ever done.
No.
But it's also not bad at all. I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't dislike anything in the special. I have parts I don't like as much as others, but there's nothing I hate in this special per se.
Yeah.
And so then Piggy sings a little sweet song called. Want to take bets on what it was called? I Will Wait for You.
Yes. And then I just love when they run to each other in slow motion.
And she calls back to the Muppet movie in that shot.
Yes!
This is the second time we've watched something that is a direct callback to the Muppet movie.
That's true.
Anyway, temporary. Anyway. So yeah, I think it's, I don't hate it. Like I said, I don't hate the special or anything in it, really.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a lie. I hate the audio and visual quality.
There you go.
But I also think Piggy's red cheeks are a little weird.
I get that they were trying to make her look like the toy soldiers and probably trying to emphasize that they were playing toys, but
it does look a little weird.
It does look a little weird on Piggy.
Yeah. Then we get all the Muppets singing in a very quaint little house set.
Yeah.
I almost wish they set the whole thing in there, but then that would just turn into Muppet Family Christmas.
Yeah, that's true.
But that was that special was 6 years away. No. 7 years, no, 8 years away.
True, yeah. And that one, it's my gosh. So good. That's one of the best things I've ever done in my opinion, but I won't go into that.
I gotta say, this scene of them all kind of sitting around the Christmas tree and John just playing guitar reminds me a lot of the other special they do, because that's a lot of just sitting around the campfire and singing. I know you've never seen it, but that's kind of
I'm planning to watch it tonight.
Find the 4K version if you can.
Yes. No,
you have to go to buy the DVD so you can watch it legally.
I'm off to Half Price Books right now to go get it.
It's been out of print for decades. You're not going to find it.
Hey, you never know. Sometimes I have found some hidden gems at Half Price Books. So
I think it was either Half Price Books or some other stores where I found one of the Best of the Muppet Show compilation DVDs.
Yeah.
I found 2 of them. I threw out one of them because it was scratched. I kind of wish I still kept it, even though it was scratched.
Oh, yeah.
But I had the one that had the Star Wars episode on it. So,
ooh,
whole different tangent. So then,
let's talk about that one on an episode.
yeah, Carol, which I could not tell you how it goes. I'm sorry. And then I don't want to talk about this too much because I don't want to like draw upon this. But what did you think about the Muppet nativity story?
That part I was like not expecting, and then I was fascinated with the puppets they used for that because they were very like more of like their fancier puppets, not like the Muppet like puppets. They kind of had like they reminded me of the Dark Crystal.
Yeah, so stealing a page from Commitment, which is a great Muppet podcast everybody should listen to. When they covered it, they talked about it specifically. Jim, they really wanted to get this right and not kind of like have goofy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need Muppet Jesus to look like Floyd, basically.
Yeah, and you could tell that's what they were going for.
And so they were like trying to do like a very serious, and I think that's fine for what this was.
Yeah.
Honestly, for what it was very well done, and the puppets are very nice looking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I loved them. I thought they were very pretty.
These are the type of puppets I don't know if they still exist because puppets crumble all the time. But
Yeah.
if they still exist, I'd love to see these at the Museum of the Moving Image or the Center for Arts. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I would love to see on the display somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I wonder if there are any like that in any museum somewhere.
I mean, so I was literally just at the center at the not the Center for Puppetry Arts. I was just at the Museum of the Moving Image. They didn't.
I am so jealous. I was supposed to go to that. Like,
what happened?
Our trip has been postponed. But if all goes according to plan, at some point this year I will be going. So fingers crossed. Muppets Twitter, send good vibes.
Sending good vibes. And if you're up in New York in the fall, I'll be in New York. So yeah, college, moving up there, fun.
I might act like we're aiming for fall. So hey, we might have a Muppets Twitter party up in there.
Yeah. Anyway, but no, I don't really have too much to say on the nativity scene. But I just think John Denver does great narration, and I think it's really done. And I think the song choices are great.
Mm-hmm.
Any other brief thoughts on that?
Is Scooter's little like solo before the nativity scene, or was that after?
What solo? I honestly like.
There's like a part where they're like, in that room like singing, and there's just like a part where Scooter was like singing, and I just wanted to say like it was just so sweet.
Yeah. Nativity, but it's still sweet. Yes.
Yeah, I had like such a moment during that part where I just got like really emotional about Richard Hunt, but I won't get into that.
We love you, Richard.
We love Richard. I just was like watching it and I was just like, oh my God, I love him. I was like, I miss him or something.
Oh, don't cry.
I know, but I don't know. There was just something about seeing him like in his little sweater and like singing that sweet little part. I was like, oh. Anyways, I won't get too into that. I won't make this sad.
So then the Muppets randomly start singing in German.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
That was a little odd. I mean,
again, throwback to choir days. I remember doing that in choir.
You had to sing in German in choir?
It was weird. There were like years where we would do carols and then we would sing like the first verse in English and then suddenly we would jump into the German verse. And so them doing that in this special, I was like, whoa, war flashback.
They did it. Oh my God. No, I'm so sorry. I have a Muppet water bottle in front of me with like characters plastered on it. I just realized the characters make the shape of an M.
You're having an epiphany in the middle of the podcast.
Epiphany in the middle of the podcast. That's a great band name.
Anything can be a band name. I had a teacher teach me that once.
I played bass for Anything Can Be a Band Name.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. I don't play bass. It's just a joke I like to make. Anyway.
I know.
So then they switched to the English version of Silent Night. And then a bunch of kids pop up.
Yeah, the way they like zoom out and show the set and then show like that big audience of kids, I thought was an interesting choice.
Do you think they were watching the entire like before scene of them singing the peace song or whatever?
I don't know if like it was supposed to like give that off, like say like, hey, these people have been watching the entire special, or if it was just for that one part.
Because it would make more sense if they like constantly cut to kids' reactions of like the whole special or something. But like,
Yeah.
or maybe it would even make more sense if like they walked off that set and walked it back into the purgatory void, and there was just like a children's choir there now.
Yeah. I feel like it was supposed to represent like
The every child.
everyone who's watching is part of this too. We're all together at Christmas. Join in, sing along.
I get that. Well,
That's the vibe I got.
yeah. Well, that then all the Muppets say Merry Christmas, starting with Gonzo, which is weird. Delightful, but weird. And then that's
Dave was like, "Call it,
call it over." And that was John Denver and the Muppets Christmas Together, starring John Denver and the Muppets.
Yep.
But before we go, let's briefly talk about the album, if you don't mind.
I do mind. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you like, out of these two, I know they're very similar, but like, which one do you prefer, the album or the special?
Oh, man. I really feel like that would depend on my mood. Like, if I was in the mood to, like, watch it, I'd, like, obviously be, like, more into the special. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Why did I say that? That's stupid.
No, because, like, for me, I think the special is good, but I feel like it has some parts that aren't great, and also drags a little bit.
Yeah, valid.
It's a little long. It feels longer than it is, honestly, to me.
I feel like if I really just wanted something really, like, soothing in the background, I would put the special on.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I was, like, in the car wanting to listen to some Christmas music, I would probably be like, yeah, more obviously, like, just the album.
I like the album a lot. It's also shorter. It's only 35 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's briefly talk about the songs that are on the album, but not the special.
They're
weird. We already talked about the weirdness that is the 12 Days of Christmas. I won't understand why they did that the way they did, but they did.
Right? Yeah.
Man, that version of Little Saint Nick is so good.
Yeah.
That's basically pretty much most of what I want to say. But why didn't they have that?
You're not wrong.
Like, why didn't they have the Electric Mayhem, playing that in that little gazebo in the purgatory world, and just like jamming out? Like, it would remind me so much, like I think I've said earlier, of that scene from Muppet Family Christmas. But like,
yeah,
it'd be great.
It's weird that they didn't do that. I guess they really wanted to stick with the more like chill vibe. But
yeah,
come on, sometimes you need a little pick me up.
Because they also don't do Deck the Halls.
Yeah.
Which again is a little bit more like it's a little more cheery. Do they sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" at the very end? I feel like they have, right?
They do at one point. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just one of the sweetest things, when the river meets the sea, with Robin and John.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet. Have you ever seen Emmett Otter's Sugarman Christmas?
No, actually. Now I feel very like a fake fan today, man.
Well, that's Muppetland. Thank you all for joining us. We need to end this now. No.
I've been talking to a fake fan the whole time.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
It's the like lesser known ones that I'm like catching up on now.
Emmett Otter has a stage play.
Here's the thing about Emmett Otter, though. If I mentioned that to any of like my friends who aren't like major Muppet fans, they won't know what I'm talking about.
That's true.
Which is a shame, because I have seen chunks of it, and it's very adorable. But
I've seen, this is how I saw Emmett Otter in theaters.
Ooh.
Because Henson Company was in a kick in the late 2010s of just re-releasing a bunch of stuff into theaters as like album events.
Yeah.
And one of the events they had was a double feature of Emmett Otter and Bells from Fraggle Rock.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
Mother hated both of them.
Aw. I love the Bells of Fraggle Rock. Oh, I love that so much.
And I was supposed to go see the off-Broadway musical version of Emmett Otter.
Ooh.
But it was a 2-show weekend in December of 2021. We had just gotten out of Company, which is great. If you're in New York, go see Company. It closes on July 31st. We just got out of company. My mother checked her voicemail. We were at an Irish pub eating dinner, and they canceled Everett Otter for the rest of the week because of COVID. So
Oh man,
yeah, I was annoyed to say the least.
that's so devastating.
Yeah.
I had a Comic-Con canceled because of COVID, so I feel your pain there.
Ooh, yeah. So yeah, When the River Meets the Sea is just, it's funny because for this track and also the track that Scooter and John sing, it almost doesn't sound like Robin singing. I can only hear Jerry really.
Yeah.
Like Jerry Nelson and John Denver put out an album together, and I'm not complaining.
I'm not complaining either. What a voice that man had.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's. I don't even remember Noel Christmas Eve 1913 at all. Do you don't remember that song at all? The only thing I have to say about the album is that Alfie the Christmas Tree plays much better on the album than the actual special, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And yeah, so here's a fun note. There's actually a couple songs that they were proposed for the album, but got cut. For those are Keep Christmas With You, which is that song from Sesame Street.
Yes.
Keep Christmas with you all through the year. I love that song too. I Wonder as I Wander, never heard of it. Carol of the Bells.
Oh man.
Well, they would go on to do that later with me, 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 me.
Very true. And nailed it.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. They almost did. And they also, I'm so mad they didn't, because they almost did my favorite Christmas song of all time.
What's your favorite Christmas song of all time?
God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen.
Ah, excellent choice.
I love, side tangent, there's a really great instrumental version of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. And then the Bare Naked Ladies version is just great.
Yeah.
So back to the special before we wrap it up. A lot of people did not like this when it first came out. They thought it was too cute.
I mean, it's Christmas though. Come on.
Yeah, like, what's wrong with being too cute?
I guess maybe people got used to the Muppet Show vibe, which was aimed more for adults. So then when this came out, people were like, oh.
Yeah.
But come on, man. It's Christmas.
So a couple other fun facts. This special was recorded in November of 1979. So only a couple weeks before it aired. Oh, no, the album. Wait, no, yeah. The album was recorded... I can't quite see when the album was recorded. The album was recorded in June 1979. So the album was recorded much earlier than the actual...
yeah. And that makes sense. That's usually what happens.
Yeah. Oh, here's a quote that I think Kermit might have pulled from. 22 new Muppets were created for the nativity scene, Jim Henson told the press. They were carved from urethane foam, like most Muppets, and painted in New York. We had to be careful not to offend anybody by giving them the figure's comic characteristics. These are the first serious puppets we made.
I was about to ask, like, were those like the first of their kind? Yeah.
Again, I'm just stealing this from Kermit. I guess the first serious puppets might be the ones from the Harry Belafonte episode.
Oh, that's true.
But I feel like in this tense, yes, they were some very serious puppets.
Yeah. They're beautiful, man.
This re-aired on the Disney Channel.
Valid, makes sense.
Podcast. All right, so what two sponsors do you think were sponsored this special when it originally aired?
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be something that I would never guess, isn't it?
DuPont Chemical Company.
Would have never guessed.
And Dr. Pepper.
Are you for real?
Yes, this special was sponsored by Dr. Pepper.
You couldn't have said anything more amazing for me. That is my drink. I am addicted to it. All my family and friends are going to listen to this and be like, oh no, he said the Dr. Pepper word. Gotta go. That makes me really happy. Wow. Okay, I'll stop.
Well, that's pretty behind the scenes. So I guess it's time to wrap it up. What are your general thoughts on this special?
Generally, I really loved it because I'm a sucker for Christmas. I love things that soothe me. And this special felt like a warm hug to me. And like you said earlier, it's not the greatest thing the Muppets have ever done, obviously, but it's really nice, I think, when it's like Christmas time and you just want to sit by a warm fire and listen to some soothing music and have the comfort of the Muppets.
Yeah, I agree. I can't, it's not the best thing they've done. It's
Yeah.
also, no offense, because of how good the competition is, it's towards the bottom of their Christmas specials.
Yeah,
But that's
unfortunately.
not the special's fault. It's just that it has to compete with things like Christmas Eve on Sesame Street,
Mm-hmm.
Muppets, Family Christmas. Like, it's also not, it's not the worst holiday special either, because it's not a special Sesame Street Christmas.
Yeah.
Ethel Merman doesn't call Emma Jean Coca an idiot in this one, which is a blessing.
Oh, man.
So, and I'm changing up. Usually I would say out of 5 Kermits, and we're still going to do that, but I'm not going to say the bottom is that obscure Little Mermaid pilot anymore, because that's too obscure. So, out of 5 Kermits, with half a Kermit being a special Sesame Street Christmas, and 5 Kermits being the concept of Frank Oz, how many Kermits would you...
That gets me every time. Honestly, I was like rating it on Letterboxd yesterday too, and I know a lot of people probably wouldn't agree with me, but I would probably give it like 4 out of 5.
4 as well, actually.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I know a lot of people would be like, "You're being generous," and I'd be like, "You can never be too generous with the Muppets. Leave me alone."
It's Muppets and John Denver. Let me be generous.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, 4 stars. It drags a little bit in the middle. I'm not taking off any points for the bad audio and visual quality, because that's
Yeah,
not
me neither.
fault. That's whoever uploaded this on YouTube's fault. And
yeah, and I mean, I'm thankful that they uploaded it because at least we have it. But at the same time,
yeah,
it's like, come on, man.
like Disney, Henson, the Denver State, whoever owns this, I don't know. Maybe it's owned by a chicken farmer. I don't know who owns it. Whoever does, put it out legally.
Please.
Put it out in widescreen, maybe.
Yeah.
But as is, it's still a pretty good special, and I'm glad it's out there for people to see.
Yeah.
Well, Amy, you got anything to plug?
To plug? Not really at the moment. Just thanks everybody for making my tweet go viral like a while back.
Don't forget to follow Amy.
Yes. Don't forget to follow me at Princess Muppet if you don't already. Help me reach 1,000 followers. Woo!
Help Amy get disqualified from the cast.
From that one Muppet Twitter award.
You'll get nominated for more, I'm sure.
This is going to be me plugging myself right now. I know we're months early. Everybody vote for me this year. Thank you.
Speaking of the Muppet Twitter Award, I'm the Muppet Twitter Song of the Summer contest.
Oh.
We are still in nominations right now. Voting should start, I think, next week. I got to look at the schedule again. But voting should start soon, and then on August, was it 12th, join me live for Muppet Twitter Radio, where I will be playing the top 10 songs, counting down to number 1. Should be fun.
Yeah.
Join me next week. Yes, I've actually got the next episode of this podcast already planned out. I will be joined with Muppet fan legend Shane. I'm not going to say his last name because I don't know how to pronounce it. And I don't want to get it wrong. But his first name's Shane, and he's a pretty cool dude. You might know him from other stuff. It's another random Muppet episode. Right now, there is a poll live on my Twitter between 4 options. Those 4 options are Sesame Street Season 31, Brian and Dave Watch a Christmas Carol, and other YouTube videos. A Fraggle Rock episode that I forget which one it is, and Muppets Tonight, Johnny Fiamma Leaves Home. So, currently Johnny Fiamma is in the lead, but I really want to watch some weird Muppet YouTube stuff. So, yeah, go vote. Join me and Shane next week on Wednesday at 5 p.m. And, yeah, Amy, thanks again.
Yeah.
Definitely have to come. You'll be back sometime. Maybe I'll have you back for the Christmas episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thank you for having me back. This is so much fun.
Well, thank you so much for coming back.
Of course.
And now, speaking of bringing it back, Time to play last time's exit music. Woo! Bye, everybody.
Bye.